We get live stream.
All right, here we go. People of the state of Michigan versus Courtney Struble. This is 2123825. Ms. Struble is appearing from the jail. Ms. Yancey is her attorney, and Mr. Gabriel is the prosecutor. And this is defendant's motion to reduce bond. She is charged with possession of methamphetamine as a drug double and as a habitual second offense. Possession of methamphetamine as a drug double is punishable by up to 20 years in the Department of Corrections. And if the prosecutor opts for the habitual offender's second offense, it would be a crime punishable by up to 15 years in the Department of Corrections. The magistrate, when setting bond on April 27th, indicated she was unemployed, no family in the area, history of substance and alcohol addiction, has pending cases in Kalamazoo, Calhoun, but they won't pick up on warrants, not on probation or parole, resides in Portage, no phone, says she was on her way to rehab when she was arrested. She set the bond at $15,000, 10% cash surety due to lack of contacts to the county and the other issues. So, Ms. Yancey, what's your motion? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. As indicated in the motion filed on June 14th, our client has requested a bond reduction in this matter. She reports that while she is not a resident of St. Joseph County, she is a resident of Portage, Michigan. She reports being willing and able to comply with the terms of her bond, which would include DRC testing. Her concern right now is she does have a pending matter in Van Buren County she would like to get resolved at this time while she awaits a status conference. She was bound over to the circuit court on May 11th of this year. So her case is fairly new in the circuit court system. She did ask that the court consider a bond reduction so she may address her other affairs while she awaits a status conference date.
What is the offer in this case to resolve it?
The offer presented at the pre-exam in May was to a possession of methamphetamine, and the supplemental charges would be dismissed.
And that's not interested. That's not going to resolve.
Yes, at the time of the pre-exam, that offer was rejected.
Okay. All right. So the same concerns exist. She has no ties to the community. She is a flight risk. She has other charges in 2 other counties. So you put down that it's a $15,000 cash or surety. It's a $15,000, 10% cash or surety. So does that make a difference?
Your Honor, the bond was relayed to her at the time of arraignment. Our office did cover that arraignment for the public defender's office. It was relayed to her, and she reports in correspondence with us that she still cannot post the 10%.
What could she post?
She did not indicate what she could post. I'd be happy to have her relay that to the court at this time.
That's okay. Mr. Gabriel?
Well, Your Honor, I reviewed the facts of the case set forth in the affidavit. And while I appreciate counsel's indication that she's a resident of Portage, it seems like that residency is basically, that's where most of the crimes have occurred in Kalamazoo County. I don't see an address. I don't see that there was ever any indication that she actually had a place there, lived there with somebody. I haven't heard anything in the motion indicating she's a homeowner or she's got a rental apartment or a roommate or anything. Her history clearly would be more consistent with somebody who's pretty much living wherever she chooses to put her head down at night, a history of clearly using various means to attempt to obtain money for drugs, clearly seems to be indicative of some kind of a drug problem. There was a usable quantity of meth found in the purse. This wasn't just a old dirty pipe or something of that nature. And I'm also well aware of the fact that if she wants to take care of her case in Van Buren, Judge Brickley clearly can can probably come in and they can take care of it. She can do both while she's here. I just have a real concern that this is going to be one of those meth cases that if we reduce her bond and let her have even better of an opportunity to get out, we're either going to have one of two things: somebody who we can't find again, or somebody who's going to just keep ratcheting up more offenses. So I just don't see a basis to have the court believe a bond reduction would be appropriate.
The affidavit indicates that the police were dispatched to a female sleeping in a silver Ford in the parking lot of the Dollar Tree on South US 131. Upon arrival, the officers saw cash laying in the passenger seat and the driver laying down in the driver's seat. The officer tapped on the window. She rolled it down. She had multiple warrants, placed her in custody, unable to, she was acting erratic. Her story of why she was sleeping in the car changed. She said that she was on her way to rehab and asked where she was going or what she was going for. She said that she used multiple drugs, asked when the last time she used, and she said she used 4 days prior. Asked her what she used, and she changed the subject. Placed her back in the patrol vehicle. They then ran the vehicle, and it came back to another person out of Matawan. The vehicle was uninsured, and so it was to be towed. And so they conducted a canine search. The canine alerted to the bag in the vehicle, which was Courtney's purse sitting in the passenger seat. Had a spoon with what appeared to be residue on it, as well as syringe, and a small bag of suspected methamphetamine. And Ms. Struble then told the officers that she had a prescription for methamphetamine because it ran in her system. The bag with the packaging weighed 1.02 grams. All right. What are the other charges that she has facing in all these other counties? What is it, Ms. Struble?
I like to speak. When I did come here, I was oriented and I was strung out and I was high on methamphetamine. Since then, I've done over 2 months in jail, and I would like to speak because I do have a place of residency to attend to. My aunt Colleen Kiley, who lives in Schoolcraft, which is not far from this county, is willing to take me in. She has at least 5 bedrooms. I've graduated drug court and I was clean for 7 years. I did have a slip up, which is a relapse, and this is what I'm coming back from. However, with this jail time underneath my belt, I am extremely excited to bounce back where I came from. Everything that the chief is saying is true. However, this 2 months under my belt has really opened my eyes and made me focus to where I need to be headed, which is on the straight and narrow. I've been attending AA and NA meetings, and I feel really strong. The reason why I'm asking for a bond reduction is because my mom is taking care of both of my kids in a CPS case, which my deadline is in September. I am in desperate need to get out of jail to show that I am compliant with the needs of my children, as well as the CPS is what they're requiring from me. And as of right now, I'm not compliant because I'm held up in jail. So that's why I'm asking for the bond reduction. I'm coming up to the deadline for my kids where I'm going to potentially lose the custody. That's the need for the bond reduction. But as far as concern of me running away, that's no longer an option. I'm clean-headed, I'm clean, and I'm focused on getting my things taken care of, which was the point of getting everything taken care of legal-wise so that I'm able to do the things for my children and not have a hang-up 6 months down the road.
Okay, all right. So where are the warrants out of, Mr. Gabriel? Do you have that?
The warrant, I have a hold right now out of Pawpaw, so even if I was to get an OR bond out of here, I'm still going to be transported to Pawpaw to settle my last case. One of them
So what's that for, Ms. Struble?
I believe it's for driving while intoxicated, which is a misdemeanor. but I'm not positive. I've had cases in several other counties because I couldn't, it's more or less a cry for help, sir. I was trying to
No,
get
it's
out.
more or less a spiraling out of control. It's not a cry for help. You got caught. You could have gotten the help after you got arrested on the case in Van Buren, and yet you still continued to use here, and then you were found here for some reason, indicating you're going to be. Now, what's your aunt's name in Schoolcraft?
Colleen Kiley,
Colleen.
Kiley, K-I-L-E-Y.
K-I-L-E-Y. And where does she live?
Huh?
Where does she live?
Schoolcraft.
Okay. Big town. Got an address?
It's South 13th Street, I think.
All right. You don't know it? Okay.
Very-
Here's what I'll do, Miss Kylie, because you need to get these cases taken care of. I'll issue you a PR bond.
Okay,
The condition's going to be that Colleen Kylie sign for it and take responsibility for you, like you said she would. So it'll be a $10,000 personal recognizance bond, but the requirement being that she signed for it also, so that if you then don't show up, we can go against her. And so she'll have an incentive to make sure that she follows through. So I will grant your request for a $10,000 PR bond with the condition being that you have your aunt Colleen Kiley sign for it and accept responsibility for you. And that you appear and stay in contact with Miss Yancey and the court of your addresses, and that you reside with her or receive the court's permission to move somewhere else. Okay?
sir.
Okay, good. All right, I'll get that order prepared. And then,
What's the 10,000 for?
what's that?
10,000 for if it's an OR bond. I'm just talking.
Because we set a price, because then if you don't show up, we collect the 10,000 from the person that signed for it, whether it be you or Miss Kylie.
Well,
So it's
I
a
don't
promise to pay if you don't show up. Okay, you don't post anything at first. It's your own word. And if you betray your own word by not showing up, then we collect the 10,000.
Okay, I don't know if
Okay.
she'll be up to that. I know she can verify that I'll be staying with her.
Well, if she's not willing to agree to do it, then she's not much of a contact for you. So, and maybe she knows more about it